Hey guys, it's been a while and I just wanted to share this, I guess it's an analogy that I randomly thought of. I'm sure someone else has thought of it too before. But I was talking to my neighbor from home, and he's at school here, and he came over. We'll have tea. Like we used to have tea. We're like brother and sister. And we used to have tea at home with our parents, and so we decided to have tea and we'll have like conversations, which is a big deal for us because we argue like siblings. Um and a lot of times can't even get sentences out. So we're kind of talking about faith, and so my neighbor, they are from Belarus, and he is an Orthodox Christian. I don't know everything. I discovered things I had no idea about, and there's just a lot about that faith that I didn't know. And I think that's something we realize about like a lot of them, is that we don't know. We have like our disposed or pre-made assumptions about them or whatever, but we don't actually know anything, or about what it's like to be a part of that or what they actually believe, because they can share their beliefs, but living it out is so different. And this is something I kind of started to think about when I moved to California and lived with my roommate's family. They were Mormon. And living in Oklahoma, like, that's very, like, you get that, and, like, um, Jehovah's Witness, and, like, a lot of things mixed up, and you just have these preconceived ideas about them, and it's just whatever. And so, living with them, I had no interest on becoming or converting to being a Mormon. But I got to speak with the sisters, and I went to church with them every week to really learn a lot about what they believe. And living with them and seeing how they lived out their faith and how they lived their lives really showed me that like a lot of people don't believe that Mormons are Christians, but based on like what I believe a Christian is, I believe they are, and how they live out their life and how they treat others and how they love others. And yeah, and they may just believe a little more or a little less or just differently than I do, but it was really cool to like understand that and get to know, and just like that's something that's really intriguing to me. It's not something I want to study um, in school or anything, but it is something that's just like really interesting to me because I fully like one of my biggest things on my beliefs is that faith and faith is a 110% personal thing. Yes, it's also community, it's also more, but it all starts in like your personal faith, and every single person, their faith differs. Like what you believe is not going to be the exact same as the person sitting next to you, and that's something that was really hard for me because I always felt ashamed or shamed by others for believing differently and almost ashamed to share those different beliefs. And so I kind of kept it inside. And that's something that I'm very, that is like very important to me, is knowing, is like accepting that other people believe different things for different reasons, and I shouldn't live my life trying to force them to believe what I believe, but instead of like being like, hey, you have to do this is how you have to live your life, or else this. No, I can live my life by living out my faith and loving them, because that's something that's really big in my faith, and living that out to them, and they'll see it, and maybe they'll be like, wow, that's awesome, I want to get to know about that. And maybe they'll want to believe a little bit more of what I believe. And so that's kind of like the concept of like what's important about faith to me. And I feel like, have you ever like had a conversation with someone and you realize that's kind of like the whole point I started these videos, is when you talk out loud, you realize ideas and concepts and things that you know or believe that you didn't have in your head, and you word it ways that you're like, wow. And so I wanted to write this one down. So my neighbor and I were sitting in my kitchen having tea, and we were talking about, sorry, my phone keeps going off. We were talking about like that we differ in beliefs, and like he is very into politics and things like that, and that is very not what I'm into. And so it's kind of something that like over the years he's known like I do not agree or I do not want to talk about it. And a lot of times our disagreements when we were at home would be that like I would want to talk about something and he'd be like, no, it's this way, or vice versa. And we'd correct each other and things like that. And then I've really learned how, and I think he has too, to understand that it is like we believe different things, whether it's about our religious beliefs, whether it's about our political beliefs, whether it's about just random ideas about the world. Like it's so vast and varies so much that there's no way we're going to meet someone who is line in line with us. And that's what's so unique and so amazing about it, and so incredible about like our world and about who we are, is that we're given this ability to believe whatever we want. I can believe that unicorns are my parents, and that when I die my body is put into a rainbow and yada yada. Like not, and if you believe that, like that is not wrong, but or that's not bad. The thing is like we have this ability to believe whatever we want. That's insane to imagine, like how much is possible and how much we don't know. That's like a big thing about faith, is that faith is not having like evidence. It's believing without seeing. And so no matter what arguments or what proof we have, like at the end of the day, it comes down to our faith. Like what do we believe without seeing it? And that's just like, it's purely in here, and you cannot ever force anyone to believe anything. It's just like something in them. And that's like, I am a Christian, but there are things that my other Christian friends or certain denominations or even my church I disagree with, and I can't like back up why. I don't have verses to prove. It's just this feeling in me that's like, no, I believe differently. And that's what's so cool about it. But so we're talking about faith, and he was explaining to me a little bit about this book and about like stuff that they did and believed in their religion and yada yada. And we were having this long conversation, and I kind of put it into like the most important thing about faith to me is the fact that we accept that we have different faiths, and instead of focusing on ridiculing other beliefs or forcing our beliefs on others, we realize and accept like and grow together. And so I kind of put into this phrase, and I wrote it down just because I really liked how I worded it, and this is not how I worded it originally, but so I connected our faith to a grocery list. So every single family, every single person, like if they're like, hey, write your grocery list, let's go grocery shopping, you're gonna write different things. You're gonna write more than someone else, less than someone else. You're going to have a bunch of things that go into a recipe that's a bigger picture. You're going to be shopping for snacks that are whole things. Or you're going to be shopping for things that you look at it in a more broad scale. Or you're going to have very limited or very certain diets or certain things. Like it is so vast and different. Certain tastes, certain, oh, ew, I hate bananas, or I love bananas, or I can only have the green bananas, which is me. And it's not the green ones, but like the greeny yellow. I can't, if it has a spot of brown, like no. But it's so different. Like your grocery list will never be the same as someone else's. And if it is, like, it's an analogy, just go with it. But with our grocery list, we're always trying to include everything we believe we need and can prioritize, and like prioritize what's most important and what we need now. And we're always trying to make our list the best it can be and the best we believe it to be. And we don't go look at someone else's grocery list and say that's wrong. No, we accept, oh, you like that, so that's what you want. I may not agree with it. I may not like that, but it's your grocery list. And it's just so like, we can go, let's just go grocery shopping. Like, we don't have to sit here and analyze our lists and why that works and doesn't work. Like, let's just go grocery shopping. Sometimes you forget things on your list. Sometimes you add too much. Your list will never be perfect, but you're always on the way of trying to get it the best it can be. And that's what faith is. We're never going to be perfect because in my faith, Jesus is perfect and I am inherently imperfect. I will never be at that level. But it's something that I am pursuing and I'm trying to make my grocery list the best it can be. And there are so many temptations when you go to the grocery store that you're like, oh my gosh, I want that. But just because you grab that apple or you grab that candy bar doesn't mean that that's part of your belief. You were just tempted in the moment and like, let's just go grocery shopping together. Let's go live life together. Let's live out our faith. Let's go with our grocery list as best as they can be and always be pursuing making them better. But let's just go together and support one another in grocery shopping and not judge it. And some of us are better prepared. Some of us have more money to spend on the groceries. Some of us have healthier lifestyles where we can look at our faith and be like, I know that this is this. I'm more confident in it. Or some of us have gone through things and are just coming out of the healing and starting our grocery list and like, okay, I don't have enough for that right now. And at the end of the day, like, let's just go grocery shopping. It's like almost like we make it so much more complicated than it is. Loving one another and supporting one another should be simple. It should be simple. It's literally go hug your neighbor. Go walk to the store with them. Go down the aisle. They want the meat and you're a vegetarian. Go with them. You don't have to get the meat. You don't have to force them. You can explain, oh, yeah, I don't like it because of this, or I don't eat it because of this, or, oh, I eat it because of this. But you don't have to force it upon anyone. You have just be secure in knowing and pursuing the best faith you can, the best grocery list you can. Because we are building a grocery list for our lives. I don't want food in my house I'm not going to eat. I don't want to not have food I want, like, or believe is best for me. And I'm a health nut, so like, I try to get the healthy stuff. And sometimes I go grocery shopping and I forget that I forgot stuff on my list and I see it along the way and I'm like, oh right, that is something that is important to me. I just forgot it in the moment. And what's also really cool that I came up with the other day is that we're also building our grocery list for our families, for our loved ones, for people that spend our lives, like their lives with us. And that is, we are accepting their beliefs. My husband really likes graham crackers. I hate them. I like saltines. But I am getting him graham crackers because I love and support him. And he is a part of my grocery list. My faith is loving him and supporting his faith. And like our loved ones, we should do that to everyone. But on our grocery list, we are including others too. And so that's kind of like something I've been really dwelling on lately. And it's something that's been like really emphasized in my like mind. And I don't know how I came up with that idea, but I was talking to my neighbor and it came out and I just wanted to share it. And yes, so I hope you all have a great evening and yeah, good night.